Are we all ready? Let's go. This is the High Flying Podcast where we be drop kicking it with the boys. So make sure to body slam that like, share, and subscribe button. I am your host, Biggie Bag Johnny, the one with all the creative control, back with another video. And today we're going over my favorite segment. You know what time it is. This is a weekly doing that we do now, and I love it. Y'all been showing me love. I see the subscribers. I see the likes. I see the comments. This is amazing. Thank you to everybody that's been subscribing and commenting and showing me love and doing everything that y'all been doing to make the channel grow. You know, this is all I pretty much wanted. And the fact that I'm doing a segment that I love and you guys are watching and you're actually listening to what I have to say, not just watching the show and complaining. It's awesome, guys. I'm glad that y'all actually agree with me on some of the things. And what we got going on today is a historic event that went on in 2000. We're talking about Bash at the Beach at 2000. Darkside of the Ring, baby. Season 4, episode 9. We're going to hear a lot about WCW. We're going to hear a lot about Hulk Hogan, Booker T, all these guys that was involved in this time. It was a crazy time at this time. I'm a WWE F kid. I'm an Attitude Era baby. So, which means that I wasn't really live at this, you know, in this event when it was happening. Do I remember when all of this shit was happening? Do I remember Jeff Jarrett laying down and doing all of this? Sure, why not? You know, whatever. But it wasn't really my cup of tea. But today, what is it, like 30 years later? We are interested. We want to know what the fuck happened. So without further ado, we're not going to talk no more because, you know I do a lot of talking in the intros. We're going to watch this Bash at the Beach Dark Side of the Ring, man, because, you know, Hulk Hogan is a bitch. I'm sorry. But that is what it is, man. So, you know the creative control. But we're going to get into it, man. I was listening to this a little bit at work. I was popping in and out of it, you know what I mean? Fresh out of work. So we about to roll up and get into it, man. Dark Side of the Ring. Let's go.
As the new millennium dawned, the once industry-dominating World Championship Wrestling was struggling to keep pace with their rival, the World Wrestling Federation.
You are looking at the next WWF champion, and that's the bottom.
In many ways, WCW's fortunes and future hinged on one key event.
Bash at the Beach 2000. Candidly, one of the biggest disasters of my entire career.
Bash at the Beach was one of WCW's biggest annual pay-per-view events. And in the year 2000, it was the stage for an epic clash between two of wrestling's most controversial creative talents.
And I promise you will never see that piece of shit again!
I think Vince Russo is motivated by attention. I don't know why. I don't know if he didn't get enough when he was a little kid.
Eric represented everything I despise in the wrestling. And bro, I'll tell you, you're never gonna outwork me because I'm better than you.
If he believes that, he's got a problem with reality.
The incident at Bash at the Beach 2000 is one in which every...
If I could say something, neither one of you motherfuckers really got a job. I'm just saying. I just met Eric Bischoff and all of that's good, but let's just say this outworking Eric Bischoff, Vince Russo, both of you motherfuckers technically got fired and bought out by Vince McMahon. I'm just saying.
Every participant has their own version of what actually took place that night.
And I said, Hulk, you're not walking out of here the WCW champion. That is not happening.
What's Jeff doing? Now the script's out the window. What's going to happen? And it's like, nobody wants to watch wrestling and see that. It was the dumbest things I ever saw.
And Hogan, you big bald son of a bitch, kiss my ass!
That was never my plan. No, I'm really pissed off. Hogan's pretty sensitive about being called bald, even though he doesn't have any hair.
That nigga hasn't had hair since 1982.
How could you not?
There will come a time, there will come a place when I will tell the entire story of what happened at Bash at the Beach.
The legacy of Bash at the Beach, the single biggest black eye in WCW.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was pretty much a disaster. I mean, looking at it all these years later and things like that.
History.
It's probably the reason why they're not even as a company right now.
I despise the wrestling business, bro. I despise the people in it. You cannot be a good person and exist in the wrestling business. You can't, bro, because you enter a Shark Tank. And unless you become a shark, they will eat you alive. My name is Vince Russo. I was in the wrestling business since 1991, so I'm going on 32 years now. You can boo all you want. That doesn't change the fact that I'm better than you. What I'm looking for tonight is...
Vince, we've got to know, who is the WCW World's Heavyweight Champion?
Question? There is no question, Mike.
There's no question.
Who's here with the belt?
Overall, do you think Vince Russo has done more harm or good for wrestling?
Let me answer this real quick. It's a little bit of both, because Vince Russo destroyed WCW, but Vince Russo also made points of WWF and EC and WCW hot at some points. So it's kind of like a back and forth where it's like, yeah, he did destroy it. He did do harm to the wrestling company, yes. But you can't just look at all the bad. You know what I mean? Obviously, this man was getting hired by companies for a reason. So let's just keep that in mind.
Harm. Yeah, I'd say long-term harm. Yeah.
Who gives a fuck about what Dave Meltzer thinks?
In the 1990s, professional wrestling is bigger and hotter than it has ever been before. As industry leader Vince McMahon's World Wrestling Federation faces a serious challenge to its popularity by an aggressive challenger, billionaire Ted Turner's World Championship Wrestling.
WWF had been the dominant company from 84 through, I would say, 96. And in 96 it flipped over and WCW was dominant. My name is Dave Meltzer, and I'm the editor of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, and I've been covering pro wrestling since the early 1970s. The flaw of Vince McMahon is he only thinks a certain thing works. That's it. And there's a million things in wrestling that, when done well, can work.
As both companies engage in a fierce ratings war pitting their Monday night shows against each other, the rise of WCW is led by its ambitious young president, Eric Bischoff.
I decided the only way I was going to be successful was to be different. I listed all of the things that made WWE successful, and I decided to do exactly the opposite of what they were doing. I'm Eric Bischoff, former president of WCW. I'm the first one that created a weekly live television format for professional wrestling. I looked at the WWE and they were taped. And I thought, wrestling needs to be live. When it's live, the audience has to watch it. WCW before Nitro was just a really bad, cheap imitation of WWE. It was just silly, childish stuff.
The Shockmaster!
They were ignoring men 18 to 39.
R.I.P. to the
So I
Shockmaster.
thought, okay, there's my opportunity. Now I began wondering, how can I transition into more reality-based product? Eric produced a different kind of a television show that had ever been done before. He was just ahead of the game, and Vince was behind the times.
Before launching Monday Nitro, Bischoff aims to legitimize WCW by headhunting major talent, poaching Vince McMahon's biggest star to be the new face of his company.
We're the number 2 wrestling company in the world. We're a fraction of the WWE's ratings. And bringing in Hulk Hogan changed the perception of WCW. It was a seismic shift. I remember Eric telling me, where Hogan goes the money. That was his saying. And all of a sudden, my phone rings one day, and it's my buddy Diamond Dallas Page. And he said, Eric, Scott Hall wants to leave WWE. He was Razor Ramon there. So I do the deal with Scott Hall, and about a week after that, I get a call from Kevin Nash. Same thing. Bam, the light bulb went off in my head. There's my storyline. Oh, the New World Order.
What is he doing? Is he the third man? What the hell is going on here?
We left WWE in the dust. We weren't just beating them, we were beating them badly.
But the WWF isn't down for the count, as fans eventually begin gravitating to a new generation of superstars and a radical new approach to wrestling storylines, introduced by a brash young writer named Vince Russo.
Writing a wrestling show is not rocket science. And one of the things I said to Vince when I first sat down with him, Vince, that wrestling handbook gets thrown out the window. And I said, Vince, from now on, they think we're going to go left, we're gonna go right. Now, all of a sudden, week to week to week, they don't know what's going to happen. The idea of Crash TV is I am writing that TV like the viewer at home is sitting there with the remote in his hand, begging me to give him the opportunity to see what was going on the other channel. So it would be short match, backstage segment, vignette, short match, fight in the locker room, vignette, boom, 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 and you are not giving that viewer the opportunity to, let's see what's on Nitro. That's Crash TV.
Russo's concept of Crash TV plays a key part in turning the tide, and soon the WWF is back on top, beating WCW every Monday night.
Towards the middle of 98, certainly in 99, that had reversed again. Now WWE was on top.
And that was a magical period. I don't want to dismiss Vince Russo's, contributions, but they had Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock at the same time. And that's like, the Yankees with Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. WCW, by the end of 99, they started losing money. They were the Titanic hit into the iceberg.
My budgets were becoming slashed. Eventually, I got let go in 99 because I was fighting that. I was struggling, I was fighting it.
Turner executives relieve Bischoff of his creative duties, while rumors emerge that Russo is open and frustrated in his role at the WWF.
Well, WWF added a second show, SmackDown, and did not give Vince Russo a raise, so they went from doing one show a week to 2 shows a week.
I went into Vince's office. I said, Vince, I want to be able to move my family closer to my wife's family. So my wife is alone and she has help raising the kids. Because Vince, I'm never home. And he turned around, bro, without missing a beat and said, you make enough money, you should be able to hire a nanny to take care of your kids. Loves his family to hire a nanny to watch his kids. Bro, at that moment, it was over. And they had me up to WCW that weekend.
I was shocked when WCW brought him in as a match made in heaven or hell, depending on who you talk to.
I know I'm going into this thing with a target on my back. This is the first time I am going to be working with these veterans that have been at WCW for a long time. From day one, Hulk and Eric were like this. I can actually remember locking eyes with Hulk for the first time, and what I read from Hulk immediately was mistrust.
Vince Russo was smart enough to know that you couldn't build around Hulk Hogan anymore if you wanted a future. So, yes, I think he was trying to figure out a way to remove him because Hulk Hogan had so much power because it was Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I've heard the critics ask the question, well, is Hulk Hogan getting older?
Yes, motherfucker. Look at that motherfucker
there.
there.
So was every other damn wrestler in the back, too. Day by day. So there was this narrative that Hulk Hogan couldn't wrestle in the ring anymore. He had no value. He should retire, blah, 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 blah. Where in reality, the business side of the wrestling business still thought very highly of Hulk Hogan.
Taking the reins of WCW in October of 1999, Russo begins reshaping and reimagining the company's flagship show, Monday Nitro.
Vince Russo believed, the more extreme and shocking you make it, the more they will like it.
We are just gonna hump you like the dogs that we are.
Sometimes that's right, but you'll also run into a thing where once you've done it, you desensitize the audience, and then there's nothing you can do.
Yeah!
What's the worst thing that he's done, that you watched?
I don't know. I didn't watch this shit. I couldn't watch it.
I was there for 3 months. The ratings went up in those 3 months.
How are the ratings doing? Are they improving?
Well, he'll tell you that they were improving, but no, they weren't up. Artificially, it looked good, but every month, if you do the month rating, the October, the November, the December, every month was down slightly.
Next thing you know, management tells me we're going in a different direction. And I said, okay, fine, I'll go home, send me my money.
Now that both Bischoff and Russo have failed to turn WCW ratings around, the network lands on a new idea. Both men working together.
Brad Siegel is the head of TNT and TBS. Vince, I want you to meet somebody for lunch. I know immediately he's talking about Eric Bischoff.
And now my job is to oversee Vince Russo.
Between Vince and Eric, I never felt that there was a power struggle.
My name's Jeff Jarrett. Some call me Double J, some call me the Last Outlaw. Those two guys view creating and producing wrestling content entirely different. A philosophical difference as opposed to a personality difference.
Is Last Room officially in WCW then? Yes!
I negotiated my contract with both Vince Russo and Eric, and I much more preferred dealing with Eric. Russo was the creator of it, and he was different. Vince Russo sat down with, all right, well, he's the guy that's going to be in charge of creative. He's looking at me, and he's like, just off the top of my head, first thing I think of is like, maybe making you Eric's illegitimate son. And I look at Eric, and Eric has the same look on his face. What the hell? Like, isn't Eric like 10 years older than me? How is he my illegitimate dad?
I did go into it with an open mind, and initially it was kind of fun. But it became apparent to me that Vince Russo is void of any creative instincts or talents.
You could not put two of the most opposite people together and said, go.
On Vice. Take one, Marker.
I knew
The
he was
shit
real.
worked, alright?
You know he was
So
real.
we're not gonna sit here and act like the shit didn't work. So fucking Vince Russo is a piece of shit. We all know this. We all know that, you know, Eric Bischoff is a piece of shit. We all know that, you know, Hulk is a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like, so you got all these pieces of shit into one toilet bowl. You know where this shit is gonna go. It's going fucking down. Like, I don't understand why did... First of all, Hulk Hogan is the biggest fucking draw in the world, ever. How could you expect him to take any losses? Why would you give that to him? Give the motherfucker creative control to a certain extent. You created a monster. Like, nobody thought, like, this dude is gonna fucking take advantage of us or has the ability to do so. Nobody thought that. Okay. I'm just saying, that's fucking dumb.
On Vice.
With WCW in trouble, the company's survival hinges on reversing its downward spiral. Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo devise a storyline designed to play off the real-life backstage drama and the tensions between Bischoff's veterans and Russo's desire to push younger talent.
There's new sheriffs in town. The idea of the program was the Millionaires Club versus the Young Blood, where all these young guys that were held down, now they're going to get an opportunity to shine.
A little bit of a civil war, creatively speaking, between young and old. Because that's, like, part of life, right?
Get that damn camera out of here!
Despite their efforts, Bischoff and Russo's storyline fails to win over fans or improve the ratings.
Man, that whole year of 2000 was kind of like blanked out of my mind because it was so bad.
It was destined for failure from the beginning.
Vince Russo, I was done with him creatively because I knew he was a bullshitter.
Eric wanted to be in charge. So I call Brad Siegel and I say, bro, put Eric in charge of the show. Brad Siegel said to me, no, Vince, we want you to write the show. Okay, fine. The next time I see Eric Bischoff, Bash at the Beach.
In the week leading up to the pay-per-view event, Russo prepares the show with a focus on who will emerge the next world champion.
That week, the meeting, and the question was, if you could put the WCW title on anyone in the company right now, who would it be? And I went around the table, Booker T, and unanimously, everybody said Booker T. I said, well, then that's what we're going to do.
I had had the belt at this time a couple of months, and so overarching creative was for the chosen one, Jeff Jarrett, to face multiple legends and be victorious until it was time to switch the title to Booker T.
I'm gonna tell you like this here, we gonna turn this mother out, now can you dig it?
A lot of significance, a lot of upside, and I saw Vince Russo's vision and bought into it.
So the main event of the evening was Jeff Jarrett versus Booker T for the WCW title, with Booker T going over.
He's one of those guys where you knew he was really good. Wrestling had not been kind to African-American wrestlers. Give somebody else a chance. This is something new.
To add more intrigue to the event, Russo makes the decision to give Jeff Jarrett one last win before losing the belt to Booker T. A win over Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
When I wrote the very first version of the show, it was Jarrett against Hogan, and I wrote Hulk Hogan very strong. However, he was not going to win the WCW title. Why? because you just had an entire room agree on Booker T.
Vince Russo had his idea what he wanted to do at Bash at the Beach. Hulk Hogan and I were on a completely different page. What Vince Russo wanted to do didn't freaking matter. Hulk Hogan had 100% creative control over his storyline and how his character was presented on television.
Back in 1994, Bischoff had lured Hogan to WCW by offering him one of the most generous contracts in wrestling history.
I think the technical wording was he had control of his finishes. It's like he didn't want to lose, he didn't have to lose.
It's easy to sit here and say unprecedented, but to that date, someone with no ownership, but to have complete creative control, that is a conflict of interest. When a talent has creative control, it sort of comes down to the simplicity. Are they worried about their bottom line?
If a talent, listen, if you work for any company in the fucking world, right, it's fuck that company. It's very, very rare that you hear somebody that, you know, that's gonna not put themselves over the fucking company. Let me tell you something. Every company in this world makes millions upon millions upon millions off of just one employer. And we barely break $50,000. Alright, so these motherfuckers that's making millions and everything like that, man, they see in the game for what it's worth. Listen, Hogan's not wrong because Stone Cold did it. I'm sure that a lot of other people did it, but it's just like, yo, bro, I don't know.
Or are they worried about the company's bottom line? It's radically different.
So I wrote the first script where Hulk Hogan looks very strong, but he does not win the WCW title. Hulk Hogan poo-pooed that first script. So now I rewrite the script and I really make Hulk Hogan look like King Kong. Not only does he wind up killing Jeff Jarrett, he winds up killing Scott Steiner. He literally winds up wiping everybody, but he does not leave with the title. Hulk says he's good with the second version. So now I walk into Bash at the Beach that Sunday. Eric Bischoff comes up to me and says, you better go in the trailer and talk to Hulk Hogan because he's not going to do this. Who's in the trailer? Me, Hulk Hogan, and Eric Bischoff. So if you want to break that down, it is clearly 2 against 1.
Did Vince Russo and I discuss it several times? Yes, we did. It was my job to oversee him. It was my call, not Vince Russo's call. He didn't get to vote. He thought he did, but he didn't.
Eric informs me that they came up with a scenario, and that scenario is Hulk winning the title. He wants to win the WCW title.
Eric's idea is to blur the line between reality and fiction with a story angle where Hulk flexes his creative control clause to win the belt as Jeff Jarrett throws the match in disgust. Hulk, angry at Jarrett's refusal to fight, is then scripted to storm out of the ring.
The idea was for Hulk to leave in a state of frustration and anger as a result of the finish of the match. The important element of it was that once WCW realized that Hulk Hogan wasn't coming back and he wasn't giving the belt back, that would force WCW to then vacate that title and create a tournament for a new World Heavyweight Champion. And finally, at Halloween Havoc, which was our big October pay-per-view, the 2 finalists in that tournament, before it physically took place, Hogan was going to make a surprise appearance and say, I still have the belt, and if you want this, you've got to beat me. Boom. There's your story.
I was pissed. Bro, you're pulling this bullshit the day of a show. I rewrote the show twice. This show is starting in an hour.
It got to the point where I said, look, we're going to get on the phone with Brad Siegel, and we're going to lay it out, and we'll let Brad choose. And Brad said, go with Eric's idea. That's it. Now you got the president of the network, who's the tiebreaker. It was over and done.
Eric wanted to be in charge. He wanted things to go back to the way they were. Bro, I'm not an idiot. So Hulk lays out this elaborate story, and I know the story ends with him winning the title. While he's laying out the story, this ear is listening. This side of my brain is figuring out another story. because he's not walking out with the title.
Pay-per-view showtime starts at 8 o'clock, 7:30, somewhere in that window. Vince comes to me and says, bro, in his great New Yorker accent, this is what we're doing.
Jeff, Hulk doesn't want to do the job for you. F Hulk, lay down for him, let him leave with his freaking belt. We wanted everybody to believe it. Jeff was not leave this. That was the goal.
Vince was pretty clear. Go to the ring. We'll get the bell to start the match. Just make it very clear you're taking a dive. You're laying down for him. And I was dumbfounded.
That's crazy because the whole time I thought when he was laying down, I thought that was the real part. That's wild.
And I said, Vince, this story is not well thought out. It doesn't make any logical sense. And for Babyface to capture gold this way is a real bad taste that if a champion's going to be a champion, don't you really want to beat somebody? And this was the opposite of that. And there's a million other options. I felt that the audience would say, this is the best you guys can come up with. I told Vince this, everybody loses in this scenario. Everybody loses.
And that they need, they don't
current WCW champion Jeff Jarrett to take a dive for Hulk Hogan. Everyone is ready to put the plan in motion until Jarrett begins having second thoughts.
When it came down to match time, I had a real overwhelming sense of, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to be a part of this mess? Do I really want to walk the aisle and be a part of this finish? Those thoughts went through my mind because my father...
If you don't know what the bloodline of the Jarretts are, I'm pretty sure he's about to explain it right now. These motherfuckers are real fucking wrestlers. They do not play with this shit. Like Impact, it was really like Jeff Jarrett's like Jeff Jarrett is tied into this motherfucker. Like seriously, like so the fact that he even went through with some shit like this, like the whole situation is just sticky, man. It's sticky as
my
fuck.
grandmother, my outlook on the industry, that you really only have one boss, and that's the fans.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the year 2000 WCW Bash at the Beach and the main event of the evening.
When they hit my music, I stayed in the back.
But where's Jarrett? I mean, his music's been playing for well over a minute. There's no sign of him. What's going on here? This is not like the Chosen One to stand us up on a pay-per-view.
So my music played quite a while. I think it looped 2 or 3 times. And I stayed over in a little tunnel and really just thought through it. I could take matters into my own hands and say, I'm not in the dive. I could, jumping and make him punch me around and make him give me a big boot. What are my real options? What is going to protect my family and my career best?
So much at stake here.
I can't say that I was legitimately angry. I can say thoroughly disgusted. And when I finally said, let's get this over with, that was where my head was at.
Here it is.
By the time I headed down the aisleway, everything in my mind was, Hogan, you want your creative control so bad? Take it.
You know something, Jeff Jarrett? You are the chosen one because I have chosen you to powerbomb your ass through this match. So come on down and get your ass kicked, Jarrett.
That he orchestrated all of this. I never, ever looked at him the same way.
What's Jeff doing? Russo, I think told Jarrett to lie down. What's going on? Russo was ripping the belts up like he wants the belt. Pin the man. Jarrett's down. I don't know. And Hogan is the shot this way. What in the world, Jeff Jarrett?
How does the crowd react when Jarrett lays down?
There's confusion, like they really don't know what's going on.
The essence of professional wrestling through generations has been the ability to blur the lines between what's nonfiction and what's fiction.
But the old promoter adage, you confuse them, you lose them. We confused them, and we lost them.
Yeah, you did.
This can't be Jeff Jarrett, a man that grew up in this sport. What is going on? He just threw the whole title to Hulk. What the hell? Now Russo.
I'll be honest with you, all I want to make sure is this plan carries out the exact same way I laid it out in the trailer. Jeff laid down, Hulk Hogan, you're going home with your belt. This is all part of the story.
This is for you, Russo. Wow. That's why this company's in the damn shape it's in, because of bullshit like this.
The referee counted 1, 2, 3, and I rolled out to the ring and went straight to the back.
I got this in real life. 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not something they go over with us at the production meeting. No, there are swerves and there are swerves. We've all been swerves.
And we went forward exactly the way Hulk wanted to go forward. The audience believed that Hulk Hogan was pissed, and he took the belt and he left the building. It went.
I swear to God, this whole fucking time. What is that? 2010, 20. For 23 and a half fucking years, I thought that shit was real. I thought that whole situation was fucking, I mean, obviously it was, but some of this shit is news to me.
According to plan, we jump in the limo, we leave the arena with the belt, we go to the airport, we're on the plane, we're high-fiving, cracking a beer, laughing, everything went the way we wanted to go.
As Bischoff and Hogan leave the arena, the show continues. But what happens next will be debated by fans and insiders for decades to come, as Russo takes matters into his own hands.
Well, here's Mr. Russo now. What is next?
30 minutes later, the plane lands, and all of a sudden, Hogan's phone is blowing up.
This is where it's hard to believe. In 2000, I was 10. They might have been phones. Yeah, they might have. I mean, yeah, there was phones, but motherfuckers lie all the time. So it's kind of fucking hard to be like, I believe one side. Like, I feel like, hold on.
So is mine. Russo went out and cut the scathing promo and buried Hulk. This was like a big, great swerve that somehow turned real when Russo does the promo later and things end up getting worse.
You know, bro, again, these are the things people hate me for.
As agreed upon before the show even started, and after Jeff Jarrett takes a dive, Hulk leaves the building with the belt, enraging and confusing the audience. Now, to the surprise of everyone, Vince Russo makes his way out to the ring.
Well, here's Mr. Russo now. What is next? Now what? I don't know. Maybe Russo can explain to the world what we have seen.
My entire life, every promo I've ever cut, there's only one way for me to do this, and that's for me to tell it like it is. I don't know what I'm going to say. I am in the moment. That's real, and that's what people believe. Here's where the story is. Here's where my character is. Go. Let me tell you people what happened out here in this ring tonight. All day long I'm playing politics with Hulk Hogan because Hulk Hogan tonight wants to play his creative control card. And to Hulk Hogan, that meant that tonight in the middle of this ring, when he knew it was bullshit, he beats Jeff Jarrett.
Because of Russo's crazy booking style, we're all like, is this the plan? Are they working us? If this was the plan, it's stupid. And if it's not the plan, it's even stupider. We're all just in there going, what the hell is going on?
And let me tell you who doesn't give a shit about this company. That goddamn politician, Hulk Hogan. Hogan got his belt and he went the hell home. And I promise everybody or else I'll go in the goddamn grave. You will never see a piece of shit again.
Adding to the confusion of the moment, Russo shocks the crowd by announcing a new main event.
Hulk Hogan now has the WCW belt.
That belt don't mean shit! Jeff Jarrett is still the official WCW champion, and he will defend that title tonight in this ring against Booker T, who for 14 years has been busting his ass in WCW and get a goddamn break because of the Hulk Hogan.
There were real emotions being fueled during that promo because I had it up to here with the wrestling shit. I really did, bro. I was over and I was done with it.
That motherfucker's like 60-something years old, so I'm talking about like bro and shit like that. Like the fuck is wrong with this nigga, bro? Like Vince Russo is a fucking piece of shit. But I believe him on a lot of shit that he says. I think he exaggerates on certain shit because he's just a New York nigga. We do that sometimes when we're telling a story. And sometimes when we write, especially when we write, we might exaggerate and put some shit on there. You know, like if we beat the nigga ass, we might have just like put it, you know what I mean? Put it like where we really gave it to the nigga where it was just really a 1-2 knockout. We probably was just like, yo, I mangled that nigga. Or if we lost, we be like, yo, we gave that nigga a fair one, you know what I mean? But I think the nigga, I think he tells the truth on a lot of shit. That he like exposes a lot of people. So I believe in the wrestling game, it's just like every other politics shit. You're gonna get people like Eric Bischoff and the other NWO guys together, and they're gonna protect their name. You know what I mean? They're gonna make anybody look crazy and do that. I've been there with the shit. So I believe Vince Russo on a lot of shit, but not everything.
That was not on the formats. That was not in the production meeting. That was nobody found anywhere until this.
We do have Booker T now against Jeff Jarrett for the WCW title. That was just booked. That's added to the night.
My plan. So Hogan, congratulations, enjoy the title. That's the fake title. The real title is going to be represented in the match with Jarrett. Booker goes over.
We've got a new champion! Oh my God, Booker T's the world champion! Booker T's the champ!
Oh my God, bro, I knew Hulk was going to be pissed. Everybody is believing this. 1,000%, and all I'm reading is Vince Russo finally put Hulk Hogan in his place. Vince Russo finally told Hulk Hogan what should have been said to him years ago. I'm reading this and I'm saying he is going to have a severe problem with it.
When Hulk gets really, really angry, he gets very quiet. Like, when he stops talking, that's when you need to start worrying. And he got real quiet after that. Like, real quiet.
Russo claims he pitched this entire storyline to Hulk and Eric in the trailer, and that they agreed.
Every single thing on that show was what was discussed in that trailer. Everything. From Jarrett laying down, to them leaving, to me cutting the promo, to Booker T winning the title at the end. It was exactly the way I laid it out to Hogan in the trailer.
That was never my plan. I guarantee you it wasn't Hulk Hogan's plan. And by the way, Hulk Hogan had creative control. And we certainly didn't know that Booker T was going to walk out as a world champion. Because Hulk Hogan had that world title and was going to bring it back in October at Halloween Havoc. That was the plan.
Oh my God, that was part of the plan. This is a key point. The reason you have to leave the building is because if I go out there and cut a scathing promo on you and you're still in the building, you're going to have to come kill me.
Russo may believe it, but that's where the pathological part of being a pathological liar comes in. None of that was discussed in advance. None of that was approved by me. None of it was approved by Hulk Hogan. It was just the most unprofessional thing that I'd ever seen in 30 years of television.
See? Like, I believe that Vince Russo, I don't know. I really don't fucking know. I don't know. This is one of those where it's like, it ended up so shitty, nobody wants to take credit for it. But I'm pretty sure if this shit like fucking shocked waves through the fucking country, everybody would have been like, that was my idea. That was my idea. So, I really don't know, bro. Like, I feel like it was a group effort. And fucking, and yeah, they just don't want to, admit it. I don't know. I really don't know. Like, this shit is wild, bro. That shit is wild.
Hogan calls into a local Tampa radio show, airing his grievances for real at Vince Russo.
The reason Vince McMahon is full laughing his ass off is because of a deep jerk-off like Vince Russo. That idiot went out there and told the people that he was responsible for me and Jared not having a match. He is a very stupid man, but now I'm really pissed off. I don't know how I'm going to get even with this Russo guy. They can pass that stupid-ass belt to Booker T, but I'm the real world's WCW champion.
Did you know Hulk was going to pursue legal action?
Did I?
Events of Bash at the Beach, Hulk Hogan takes legal action against Vince Russo and WCW.
Because Hulk Hogan tonight wants to play his creative control card.
Hogan files lawsuits for defamation and breach of contract, asserting that Russo's off-script tirade was part of the match outcome and violated his creative control clause.
I believe Hogan felt double-crossed, and whether Russo actually double-crossed him or he just got carried away and said she shouldn't have, I have no idea. But it's like, okay, you don't file lawsuits if this is just part of a storyline.
It gets to a judge, and the judge basically says, let me get this straight. This is a wrestling show. Vince Russo is in a wrestling ring. He is cutting a promo on a wrestling character. Where is defamation of character?
Like, Hulk, you're really suing over this? Shut up. I would not have been a good witness for that. Strange times.
I am cutting my promo on Hulk Hogan, not Terry Bollea. This is a story. Vince Russo is a character. Hulk Hogan is a character.
If Vince Russo takes the position that because he was performing as a character that took creative liberties with another professional, that somehow makes it legal and okay, is a reflection of the man's ignorance. He's got more than a problem with facts and truth. He's got a problem with reality.
And the first judge threw it out. They appealed it, and it went to a second judge.
Facts and truth. Facts and truth is reality. Facts and truth is reality. What the fuck?
First of all, I don't think that they went to multiple courts to begin with. It's not like they took it to the Supreme Court, for crying out loud.
The sworn depositions reveal a key piece of information that 2 days prior to Bash at the Beach, a fax was sent to the WCW head office.
I found out after the WCW office is closed, Hulk Hogan's attorney faxes a letter to the WCW office saying Hulk Hogan is not approving that script. I have no idea of this.
Here's why that doesn't hold up. It was never a discussion or a debate between Hulk and me and Russo as to whether or not we were going to do something other than what Hulk and I had laid out. It wasn't up for debate. Therefore, why would there be this after-hours fax excuse?
I mean, I'm trying to decide between two dishonest people discussing something from 20 years ago to do with the facts. Yeah, I don't remember a fax, but, I never heard the fax story. I'll just say that.
The creative control and refuse any storyline Russo proposed. Russo triumphs in the courtroom as an appeals court affirms that fictional characters cannot be defamed. However, it's Hogan who emerges victorious in his battle against WCW.
Hulk made the decision the night of Bash at the Beach that I probably will not get renewed
So how can I get another paycheck from AOL Time Warner? And that's through litigation.
I'm trying to get out of my contract with these guys. And Brad Siegel's real snug about not letting me out of the contract, but that's all I can say.
Well, Hulk Hogan was a key to building the company, and he obviously had the biggest name, but nothing is forever. And he'd been there too long, and he became the face of failure. So at that point, he was getting paid so much, but he couldn't draw ratings to a great degree anymore, and people weren't going to go and pay to see Hulk Hogan matches that they'd seen for all those years. There was really nothing left to do with him.
And then you have scumbags like Dave Meltzer, who is nothing more than a useful idiot. Even though he calls himself a journalist, Dave Meltzer to this day hates Hulk Hogan.
What Hulk Hogan was trying to achieve that night remains clouded in uncertainty.
You know, I've asked myself that through the years. What was Hogan's vision? What was the upside? What was the ultimate?
I think all these niggas was sent by Vince McMahon to Ted Turner's network to completely fuck these people out of the fucking wrestling thing. Because that's what they did. And I believe that that's what Vince wanted. And because, yo, bro, it's wild of the WCW story. And I don't know if they did the Darkside. Like, they need to do that story. Like Ted Turner's story. Right?
ultimate plan? Was it to create so much controversy or to get eyeballs on the product? Was it to be his version of a Montreal screw job or his version of a publicity stunt? I don't know. We certainly know the results of it, but I have no idea what his vision was. And Turner settled. I mean, this is fun because I sat with Hulk and his attorney, Henry Holmes, the day that they settled that. They took me out to dinner and told me what happened. They never gave me the amount. That was confidential. But I know it was well into seven figures. Some folks play chess while others are playing checkers. The night at Bash at the Beach, Hulk decided to start playing chess. He had the patience, and he cashed out.
Finale next Tuesday at 10 on Vice. What's Jeff doing? Russo, I just told Jarrett to lie down. What's going on?
The facts of what actually went down at Bash at the Beach 2000 will forever be murky. But what was clear to fans that night was that the chaos and confusion only underscored the disorder and disintegration at the heart of the company.
It was the reality the night this happened. It's the reality as I sit here today saying this. In a business that gave him everything, and that's what he gave back. It's about the most self-centered, egotistical power play move that only benefited Hulk. And that's the reality.
But I mean, as far as a storyline based on what they were doing at the time, it was something that would get people talking. Same old Hulk Hogan champion, right? So I guess I did like that. I do remember that, thinking, at least it's something new.
And let me tell you who doesn't give a shit about this company. That goddamn politician, Hulk Hogan.
It was destined for failure from the beginning.
At the end of it all, I don't think the Bash at the Beach was the nail in the coffin for WCW.
You see what it says right here? This is my ass, if you will.
You know what I mean? It was like the gig was already up. It was just kind of a flattering company. WCW was a star that became a supernova and then burned itself out.
In its dying days, WCW is snapped up by its longtime arch-rival Vince McMahon, despite having an attractive offer on the table from a venture capital firm spearheaded by Eric Bischoff.
The deal for us to purchase WCW is for $67 million. We buy all the assets and we get placement on Monday nights and Thursday nights. That was our deal. And I got a phone call. They said, Eric, it's done. I thought he meant the deal was done. Like, we own a wrestling company. I'm about ready to jump up and start dancing. I said, you mean it's done? He goes, no, Eric, you don't get it. It's over. There's no deal. Turner took it off the table. It took a minute for that to sink in.
It was a fire sale at the end. Time Warner wanted to get rid of wrestling. It was like $2.5 million for the actual WCW, and I think that there's $1.7 million more for the tape library. It was definitely the equivalent of buying Manhattan for $25.
That's right. I own WCW. I have zero regret.
I never knew the numbers. 25 million, 2.5 million. That means $2,500,000 for WCW. I think altogether he said like I don't remember. That's crazy.
That's man. I have zero regrets. You know, regret to me is a negative thing. It's like baggage. I try not to carry any baggage with me at all.
I've said this about Vince Russo. Vince is a guy who's very passionate, like a lot of us, and does what he thinks the viewer wants to watch. And he's had successes and he's had failures, like all of us.
Do you know how little this shit matters? It is a form of entertainment at the end of the day.
Wow. Fuck Vince Russo. I can't stand that motherfucker.